Remember that video of McGregor practicing the move he used to knock out Zozil before the fight? So, today, I'm going to analyze those other awesome moments where the fighter practices exactly the move and the moment that decides the fight. Let's see how trained moves are executed at the right time and how you need to be prepared for every fight. It's Celino Popó versus Wanderlei Silva at Spartan Fight Night. Look at that, throwing a counter with the straight punch. He's short, but he's got a heavy hand, right, man? And his timing, man, his timing is insane. Damn, look, did you see that counter move? Did you see it? Look at that, hold on. Did you see, man? Right on time, huh? He's looking for the timing on that right hand, and there are a few ways I can look for that counter timing, guys. Either I attack, look for your reaction and counter, or I wait for you to come in so I can act and anticipate your reaction, throwing a counter. This is very trainable, like Master Luis Pereira is doing there with Popó, right, man? But that's the thing. Before you can land a counter strike, you have to understand distance, control, and movement. When your opponent steps in, you don't just go out wanting to throw a counter right away. That's not something you do right away in boxing, okay? You only have two weapons there, so your movement is a bit more limited, right? You don't expose yourself to a takedown, you don't expose yourself to a kick, a knee, and so on, so it makes exchanging punches easier, but in this case, you understand, on the other side, an Celino. Popó is a guy who's known for the power of his right hand, so just imagine, am I going to fight Popó? I know his right hand is really strong, man, and he wants to throw over my right hand, man. I'm not going to throw much, I'm going to study a lot, I'm going to move a lot, I'm going to feint a lot to keep him uncertain about the way he lands that right hand, you know, because he's really a guy who has power, not just with the straight right, you know, when countering, but his right hand is very strong and he has a hook where he jumps in. You can even see it. There's one in Fight Music itself. He throws a hook where he feints with his right hand. People have a lot of respect for Popó's right hand. So if he doesn't find the timing for the counter, bro, the hook, he'll take your head off. He even jumps in. Man, it was a fight where I saw a lot from Vandeco. I didn't expect that much from Vande, you know. He's facing a lightweight guy, a really fast guy, and he already showed in training, right, that lack. He spent a long time without training. You know, Popó, not Popó, he's been training Popó. He doesn't stop training, same thing. Anderson Silva is a guy who trains, man. But Vandeco, no, because Vande is a guy who stopped after he retired. He stopped. He fought in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, 2017. Then he had a fight there at Bellator in 2022, and then he disappeared. You know, he disappeared and retired and came out of retirement for this fight, man. And then when a guy stops at 48, 50, bro, you lose reflexes, man. You lose speed, you know. And I was watching his pad work, man. He surprised me with his timing, you know. He was showing a lack of coordination because of his age. Age brings that to us, you know. You already lose reflexes. You see that Vande was never a guy who moved very technically. He was always feared for the power in his hands, right, man? And it's even a different comfort zone, right? He was just boxing, right? Yeah, you see that Vande always collided, right, man? Vande always tried to hit and clinch, bring that shoot box style, those knees from the inside. You know, man, he was never the kind of guy to move backwards. He always made his opponents move backwards, you know? And in this fight, I was impressed, man, with his ability to control distance, obviously. Then he got tired there, started to get desperate, but let's go. There's a video about this fight, guys. I've already analyzed it. Two great athletes, two idols, right? Two guys I really admire, Velho and Poponia, were world boxing champions, the golden age of boxing, right, man? I used to sleep just to wake up at midnight to watch Tyson, you know. She's calling me an old rascal. Ilya Topúria versus Charles do Bronx, sequence with a left hook. Here, that one landed really well. You see that Topúria throws a jab at Charles and takes a step back, knowing that Charles always moves forward. And look, Topúria isn't really a guy who... He's a guy who comes forward, looking for your reaction. In this one, he draws Charles in, seeing if he gets a reaction. On the attack, he would end up bumping into Charles and going into a grappling fight with Charles, which isn't an advantage for him since Charles is willing to take the fight. He touched, stepped back, and Charles responded, and he anticipated that reaction. These are things that the fighter shows, and it's hard for us to change these instincts, these reaction triggers. Malcolm Allmaker versus Chris Moutinho, Superman punch with a right cross. He faked a kick, you see? Yeah, he faked it. He wasn't being Superman or anything. He warmed up doing Superman, but in the fight he faked with his legs, switching stances, moving forward. Yeah, that's a good read, but in execution he didn't use the Superman since it was too close. He just switched stances by stepping outside and threw across. Man, that's really good. I always say feinting is life, man. There's no way around it. You have to learn to mix things up if you fight mixed martial arts, kickboxing, or Muay Thai, and you don't know how to feint with your legs. And you can be sure that before he landed a move like that, he threw some kicks there, making the opponent worry. His legs set up his hand to land. So if you go into mixed martial arts without using that, you get a bit limited. You have to develop all your weapons, guys. Fundamental Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. But let's see there. Let's see again. Since it was at the same time, let's see. Let's go. There are a few ways, and the one who uses this a lot, guys, this movement a lot, is Ruff. Ruff uses this movement a lot. He throws the jab, he also steps on the knee, and he does this feint to close the distance and puts his head in. In the safety zone, in the open stance, right there, man, he goes straight very hard. A lot of people fall there, and he trained, did it, right? But let's look at his training there. Let's see if it was the same move. Yeah, you can see it was at a different moment, different. He did it as a counterattack, but in the fight, he did it as an attack, right? In the fight, he went for the attacking move. Look there. Oh, boom, boom. You see, he steps to the outside on the jab, making the guy stop and take the straight punch. In training, he did the counterattack move there. The opponent, look, the coach comes up to him. Look, boom, see? The timing was a little bit different, guys, but the alignment of the stance was very important there. That was fundamental, both in the attack and in the counterattack. Right there, The fit is perfect. Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. Wow, a clash of giants, jab, takedown, tip, kick. Here it looks like he's just throwing isolated strikes without much strategy or action, right? He's really just warming up, and we know Makhachev well for that, right? He's heavy-handed, right? But he's a real controller of the fight, He's a guy who knows when the contact is gonna happen, man. I say that the best distance control fights are in karate and taekwondo. Those guys control really well when the contact is going to happen. Why? The philosophy of training, of fighting in taekwondo and karate is about the perfect strike. It's about hitting without being hit. It's a lot of control over the moment of contact, not just standing there to see who hits harder. And this thing about distance control for mixed martial arts is really interesting. It's not that we don't do this in Muay Thai and kickboxing, but it's more noticeable and necessary in mixed martial arts than in Muay Thai and kickboxing. See how they're fighting to step to the outside? Whoever steps to the outside there, in the opposite stance, who's going to... Look, he makes his move by stepping to the outside and already throws the left over his right hand. Makhachev created the opening to go in for the kick and took the kick with one hand, just the kick. You don't defend with just one arm, guys. That's the biggest mistake you can make. And there he was knocked out with the hand. Why didn't Volkanovski want a grappling fight with Makhachev? So he's very tense. So when he does this here, what Volkanovski does, he makes this gesture to defend the takedown because that's what Volkanovski did here. And when he does it here, this hand that was here comes over here. When he does this, the defense was left with just one hand. Just one hand took it. Makhachev is a very complete athlete, man. This guy is really good. And now, lastly, guys, for me, one of the most iconic moves that shows how important it is to analyze your opponent and know how to understand how your opponent attacks. And Aldo used to do this move. You can watch all of Aldo's previous fights. It was always this move. Feint, straight punch. If you move back from my straight, I step across and catch you with a low kick. Man, look at what he did. He dodged the straight and hit. Look, he dodged the straight and caught him. Between the straight feint, he caught him with a hook there, hitting as they met. My brother is really handsome, man, and you can put it back there. Aldo used that move in all his fights, so it was very predictable, and not just Aldo. A lot of guys, man, even today I train that with my athletes. You feint with the straight and come up crossing, feint with the straight cross and kick the thigh. If you don't land the hard cross, you'll end up hitting with a low kick. It's really strong because the guy will be moving backward. So it's a very interesting move. But McGregor knew that Aldo was going to attack that way. Understand how your opponent attacks. What is the strike that happens the most in a fight? Jab, jab, pendulum kick with the lead leg. That's very interesting. And let your opponent attack you. He knows that Aldo is going to come and attack in this way. Man, he got into his opponent's mind, the switch in the mental game. What is it? I touched you, you're going to want to touch me back, so I touched you. Now I left you in the attacking position and he came in with the attack and cut there, moving back. Perfect movement. You can see that he even takes a little hit from Aldo there, but his move is perfect, getting out and dodging. Bam, it was perfect. All of this is built over time, it's not overnight. My athlete, he has to understand if he wants to reach high performance in fighting, he has to execute in the fight what we prepare for him. There's no point in us preparing a fight strategy and the athlete getting in the ring and doing something completely different from what we asked. So if he wants to reach high performance, oh, but I won. You won by doing what wasn't planned. That's not important for your evolution inside the ring. And remember, this is mental preparation. What are you prepared to do? The strategy was defined. Do you understand? Oh, there may be different possibilities, yes, but you have to stay true to the strategy. That's also mental preparation. Brunão is an example of that. Brunão has been training a lot, working on his elbow strikes, Pedro, his Muay Thai coach, has been making a lot of adjustments. Bruno's elbow strike when he counters is really strong. And we knew that the guy who fought him now at Bison has that movement, those wider moves. He came at Bruno with a lot of force. So Bruno kept controlling the distance, controlling the contact, and the contact only happened when Bruno wanted it to, right? So Bruno went on the attack. Saka put the responsibility of attacking on him, and when he attacked, Bruno again used his elbow and the fight ended right there. So this is very trainable, guys, so it's really important to understand how your opponent fights, understand the psychology of the fight. Especially in mixed martial arts, it's easier to control the contact because the distance is greater in mixed martial arts. I can control better when the contact is going to happen if I know how to control when the contact is going to happen. In the case of Bruno and his opponent, Bruno was longer, so controlling the distance is easier for the guy who has a longer reach, so he acted perfectly at that moment in the fight. The elbow, it gets more exposed if you try to take someone down anyway. Yes, because the elbow is shorter than a punch. But he knew he had the guy, he was going to do it that way, and he went in, the big elbow. It was over for Billy. I always tell everyone that specific training is for fight camp. I don't leave working on a new move with my athlete for fight camp. I'm not going to work on something he's not used to doing. I'm going to work on something he already has in his game and within the strategy. I use weapons he already has. Before the fight, I develop the athlete, I work on versatility, I give new movements, and during fight camp, I only use what he already has. For example, if my athlete isn't good at kicking, I'm not going to have him throw a spinning kick. No, because he doesn't know how to do it. If I ask him to do something he doesn't know how to do, he'll expose himself. So I only use what he really knows how to do. There's no point in me thinking like, hey, throw in a backflip with a twist, a pike. No, I'm not going to do that, man, So I always say, for example, like Anorme and Matuto come to visit me here. I tell them, like, don't even bother coming to visit me. At a fight camp, why? Because I'm going to mess up the game. I like to have athletes over when it's not fight camp, during fight camp. I can even go to contribute, but first I'll have a conversation with the coach. I'll have a conversation with the athlete because I don't want to go off the strategy and mess up his training, because then I ruin the action triggers. I say that in a fight camp, an outside coach doesn't interfere, man. An outside coach in a fight camp only comes here to talk to the coach. Don't bother the athlete, leave him alone. These fighters showed that in the end, there's no such thing as luck. What works is what is trained, repeated, and executed with confidence. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these moves impressed you the most? Comment below, and remember, if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks, we're in this together.
Vê que ele aquece com o Superman Punch e depois ele finta mesmo.
The same feint, but he doesn't do the Superman switch there. He does it moving forward and lands with a cross. It's really interesting, really good, seriously.